Hi, and welcome to the In Theater podcast. This is the third and last part to our conversation with Jacob Krupp. Anyways, where were we?
I don't know, I kind of forgot.
Well, actually, I know exactly where you the fucking B1 did the flyover.
Oh, yeah. So we found nothing. Again, like, I forget what that was called, but you would take fingerprints, you would scan irises, you would input information, and it would come up with a database of people. And if they were on this database, it would come up with their information and notes that other people would put in. And, it was a way of tracking people. I forget what it was called, but we did it all the time. Vehicle patrol bases, dismounted patrols, anybody that we thought was suspicious, we would try to input this information.
The hide. It was the hide system.
Yeah, the hide. Which was actually a really cool system. It was, for us, pretty new technology. I don't know how long it's been out for, but there wasn't a lot of information on people, so it was relatively new.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much all we did that day. I got some new intel on people. We found it was seriously like a World War I revolver that was just rusted out. No ammunition for it, wouldn't fire. That was like the only weapon that we found. No bomb making material.
Right. And they're allowed to have weapons. I mean, they're at least where I was, they were allowed to walk around with AKs.
No.
We would sometimes go up and be like, hey, what are you doing with that AK? But like, we would never be like, you need it.
Seriously?
Yeah, we didn't take that away.
We had martial law.
We didn't have that, okay.
Yeah, we had martial law. You couldn't be on a motorcycle, couldn't have weapons, couldn't have walkie-talkies. You could have cell phones, but if it was like a radio or something like that, like a handheld, you couldn't do any of that. We had like martial law. If they were on a motorcycle, we're shooting at them. Pretty much.
If they had a what?
Motorcycle.
Just being on it.
Being on it, we would go after them. They're not allowed to be on motorcycles.
Why?
In our district, because that's all they would do. They would get on these motorcycles.
For VBIDs?
VBIDs? No. Like, they would set up IEDs. They would shoot at us. They'd get on motorcycles and off they go.
That would be like a major... That's a tool. The motorcycle is a
tell.
Tool they would use to do that.
It's a tell for us.
Yeah.
It's not a way of transportation. It's a way of causing destruction, trying to create harm.
Right.
They weren't on motorcycles for a nice joyride. They were on it to shoot at us, do some bad things, and get away as quickly as possible. So we put out in our key leader engagements, no motorcycles.
Yeah.
No weapons. If you do, we're coming after you. That's our green light.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had a pretty strong grip, or at least we tried to. Of course they still fucking did. And of course we would call out motorcycles and try to get PID and go on from there. And you know how that works.
Right. Okay, so and where in terms of your deployment timeline, where was the thing you just described?
That was
in the beginning,
pretty early. That was again, there was snow, so February, early February.
Yeah,
we didn't see a lot of contact when it was that cold. Because we didn't have the proper cold weather gear. Neither did they. I remember like a story coming out. It was around that time we were there. I don't know if it was where we were at or around there, but a lot of like Afghanis like froze to death.
Really?
Yeah. And it was like a big UN thing, and like the US was like supposed to like go in and support
like Afghan soldiers.
No,
or
like Afghanis,
like just live there,
civilians like out in the boondocks.
Christ.
Just like froze. Just didn't have the proper cold weather stuff. So we just didn't really see a lot of contact when it was that cold.
Yeah.
They were just gearing up. They were just beefing up, hibernating, whatever they were doing, just getting ready for a little bit warmer weather. As soon as the snow started to go just a little bit, that's really when the spike came for us. And it didn't slow down ever.
Right.
It was nonstop. I mean, if we weren't getting shot at, it was rockets. If it wasn't rockets, it was IEDs.
So sometime in probably March is when you saw an uptick and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
March, April was huge. May, June, July. I left in July, so I'm not quite sure what I think it kind of tapered off later in the year. But
Yeah.
again, I wasn't really there, and I didn't really get a lot of contact with people. I would imagine it was just as hot and heavy those last couple months.
Yeah. Not to detract or derail from the we're all kind of on like a linear path, which I like a lot.
No, ask some questions. Yeah.
Do you want to, and I can edit it out too.
Yeah. No.
Do you want to tell that initial story? Or
so
no?
I got like two. I don't know. Let me tell one story first while I kind of ponder that other
Yeah,
one.
oh, that's fine.
All right. So I think one story that sticks out the most for me, and it's nobody got hurt. It's sort of combat related, but it's just at the end of the day, it's just funny for us Americans and not so funny for one goat farmer in Afghanistan. Or I guess not a goat farmer, a goat herder,
A shepherd.
a shepherd. Thank you. Yeah, a shepherd. Probably a really nice guy at the end of the day. So anyways, we're in Polish battle space.
Something tells me something very bad happens to his goats.
Yeah, his guy. So we're in Polish battle space, right? So everywhere that we walk is essentially commanded by a Polish general. It's their battle space. Everything that happens kind of filters up to this one guy who's a Polish general. So we would sometimes be tasked with Polish teams to do certain things. And it wasn't often, but this one day we were tasked with a Polish EOD team, a very small team, 2 guys and 1 German shepherd. So
a German shepherd?
Yeah.
Oh, a dog.
A dog, yeah, German shepherd.
You said shepherd before. I was thinking there was a shepherd there who shepherded goats, but he was German?
No.
But no, it was an actual dog.
It was an actual dog.
Okay.
Don't know his name, but he was
Like
cool.
he was a bomb sniffer?
Bomb sniffing dog.
Okay. Wasn't interested in drugs, just interested in the bombs.
Bombs, yeah.
Okay.
Because again, our mission for the day was to, walk to another suspected IED maker's house, right? Try to find some more bombs and get another bad guy off the streets of Afghanistan. So it was a long fucking walk. And I have never outwalked an animal before, especially a dog.
Especially a German shepherd.
I just didn't think it was possible. But this was an extremely long mission, and we were crossing pretty rough terrain. Not mountainous, but wadis. Giant fucking wadis. Like 25 to 30 foot wadis. One side to the other. So you would scale down 25, 30 feet, walk, 3 or 4 feet across, and then walk up 25 or 30 feet. So those were the size of these wadis. They were freaking massive and they were hard to get across. And of course, they're riddled with IEDs, right? Because they know that's how we get across. Because they just plant them in roads and we don't take roads.
And they know that's a very confined point of access.
You can get a lot of people with one little bomb.
Yes.
Okay, so we're walking. We just keep going, right? We just keep going. The dog.
What was the mission here? Sorry.
Yeah, we're walking to a suspected IED maker's house. I just...
In the day?
In the day,
okay.
Yeah. So we're gone, dude. We're gone forever. And the Polish team is starting to slow down because their dog is starting to get winded. It seriously is. Like, he is having a tough time going down the wadis, back up the wadis, and then just going, right? So we finally get to another wadi. We go down. We try to find like the hardest place to go up because that's going to be the hardest place to put a bomb. And that's generally not the most trafficked area. So they kind of caught on to that, right? But this was also kind of a cold time. This was also around that February, March timeframe. So the snow and everything kind of created a barrier. Okay, so we're walking up this wadi. We all make it through. Polish team is obviously up front because the dog's up front sniffing for bombs. Seriously, everyone walks across this path. Everyone. And then as soon as the last person gets across, we meet this shepherd, this goat shepherd.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 30 goats, and he sees us come up, and he's probably like, okay, cool. I'm going to go down the same way these fools just came up because I know it's safe. All of the goats combined weight together set off this IED.
Oh my God.
So we're probably 50, 75 yards ahead of this guy now because we're walking. We pass. We're like, oh, check out all these goats, whatever, bad. So we're walking, and then boom, boom, like just a fucking bomb goes off, right? Boom, bomb goes off. I look behind me, and there are goats just in the air, just legs, full bodies, just that rock, dust, snow, everything. And it was, have you ever seen the Brady Bunch?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you remember the intro to the Brady Bunch?
Yeah.
So the intro is like, you got all these people in blocks, and they look at each other on all different levels of the screen. That's what fucking happened. Like, the shepherd looks at us, and we kind of look at each other.
But he was in the wadi, right?
No, he's walking into the wadi. His goats are going first.
Oh, you're right. He's herding them.
He's herding them.
Yes.
The goats go first. He doesn't lead the goats.
Okay.
The goats lead him pretty much. So he looks at us, and we're like, what the fuck? And then what happens is we all look at the fucking Polish team, and then where does the attention turn? To the fucking dog. So everybody does like the Brady Bunch thing. We're looking, and then everybody just kind of focuses on the dog. And we're like, this is what you're here to do, bro. Like, what the fuck? And then we kind of look back at the Polish team, and they look at the dog, and they look at us, and he's just like, he's tired. Like, that's all they said. That was it.
You had one job.
Like, seriously, you had one fucking job, and you got smoked, and then you failed at your job, and then seriously, like, his whole herd, I'm pretty sure his entire herd was decimated.
That's a shame. That's probably like his whole life.
Dude, it was his whole life. If I'm not correct, I'm pretty sure we gave him some money.
Yeah.
To try to
compensate,
create some peace and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I mean,
that's an easy
I'll tell
way.
You what, though,
yeah.
I've never had half better cooked lamb. Like you got it.
Did you take some of the pieces from the goat?
We took a leg.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, it was pretty much half cooked at this point.
Christ.
It was an incredible day.
Jesus.
And then we all just kind of circle up, and it was seriously like, well, what the fuck do we do now? Like, do we keep going? Like, we're obviously combat ineffective with this piece of shit dog.
Right.
And, I'm pretty sure we just headed back.
Yeah.
Like, there's no point in going forward after that.
Because I think the PL is supposed to kind of creative, submit that report, any type of explosive thing like that, I think.
Well, dude, no, anything.
Yeah.
Anything that involves civilians. Like, we ran into a wall once at night driving around this village.
Yeah.
And the homeowner, like, went nuts. Like we're the HOA. Seriously, like, he went fucking ballistic.
Yeah.
And his wall wasn't, by the way, like, these walls are made out of mud and straw.
It's amazing how tough they are, actually.
They're pretty tough, but it's not like they're granite walls or anything like. So sure, it was like leaning to one side, but come on.
You just pack some more mud on there and push it up.
Dude, just throw some poo and
shit and straw and mud and water.
Call it a day.
Yeah.
But anything that involves civilians, good, bad, I'm pretty sure we paid out.
Jesus. So you just look back and you see a mushroom cloud of dirt and dust mushroom cloud of goat parts.
It was snow, rock, goat,
Jesus.
And yeah.
Wow.
An orange canister in there somewhere.
Christ.
It was nuts. But the weirdest and scariest part is we all touched this fucking thing. We all fucking touched it.
Mm-hmm. Every
single last one of us. And it was just the weight of the combined goats together that got this thing to go off. If it was any softer ground, if it was any warmer out, it probably would have been
Yeah.
a much different story. Not a funny story, not something that I would have easily have shared, but it was just luck of the fucking draw.
Thanks for listening to the third and final episode of our series on Jacob Krupp. Hell of a guy, I tell you, hell of a guy he is. If you want to learn more about him, feel free to go to the website. It's intheaterpodcast.com. And if you're digging what we're doing here, please rate and subscribe to the podcast. If you're interested in telling some of your own deployment stories, you can reach out to me at intheaterpodcast@gmail.com or go to the website and fill out the short form in the schedule a chat section. Thanks for checking out the podcast. Stay chaotic, and I will see you next time.